Cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son. We're burning daylight.
Howdy there. I'm Matt McKinley, and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy.
Well, howdy there, daylight burners. What day is it? Sunday? I kind of lose track of time. I think it's Sunday.
Hope so.
Anyway, it's for everybody on Patreon. I think it's Sunday, and we're here with Calamity Cass. You may know her from the Insta. I called her the punchiest broad on the gram, and no objections on your end.
What's that?
Said no objections to that title on your end.
Oh, I'm definitely the punchiest of punchers out there. I think it's funny.
That's awesome. No,
I don't remember that,
but one of my favorite follows on Instagram. I've always kind of enjoyed seeing what the hell you're up to. You got you make some cool shit. You got some great stories. I just recently realized or found out that you play guitar and sing a little bit too. So that's yeah. You're kind of all around just a gypsy cowboy lady, and I don't know. It seems like you've been around a little bit, and I liked some of your stories that when the first time we talked, and there seems like you're entering like a whole new phase of your life. Like you're still the same person, but it's also completely different from the first time we had you on the show.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of country since then.
Yeah. So you got a little girl. You were married there for a little bit, right?
No
marriage.
No, came close, but
close. Then all right. Well, touchy subject or no?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't want to ruin.
No. I am pretty comfortable with it. I had a kid. She's awesome. It didn't work out, and that's life. I think it happens to a lot of people. So
yeah, I think it does. But it's always like the looking back. You're like, well, I was really sure that was gonna work back then.
Yeah,
and
I tend not to have those thoughts anymore. So that's kind of helpful. I don't bet on nothing. I think I lost you. I got good service.
All right, I think we're back.
There you go.
All right, yeah. My computer's overheating because it's so freaking. Yeah. First, it's truly a bizarre time that we live in. Where you can go out not very far from civilization and just lose yourself. But and have to live off the land and stuff. But at the same time, you could you're homesteading, but you could also check Instagram. You could be completely off the grid and still check in on your homies.
I think about this every day. It's weird.
Yeah, it really is like a gift and a curse, because I love seeing cool shit that all my friends do, and a lot of those friends nowadays I've never even met in person, but I've just
right?
just kind of followed their stuff through Instagram and talked to them, like, you know, DM and whatnot. But like, I feel like we're kind of buddies, even though never actually shook their hand. But
Yeah.
at the same time, like it's I don't know, it's just it's such a weird time in history. I don't
It is.
I don't know if we, like any of the previous generations, I really had that, like that kind of type of leap in, you know, information. Like you know, like the printing press was a big deal, but
Yeah.
like it still, you still had to print something. Where now it's just like instantaneous all over the world. Like that's a whole different level of, like, I don't know, it's mind-boggling at times.
It is.
But you can still just, like, not very far from civilization, you can just like go and fall off the grid pretty easy.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of places left where, I mean, you really can go far from civilization, unfortunately. But
No, like you can drop off pretty quick, but it's still fairly close to civilization
like
because
in the U.S., anyway, a couple hours, maybe a little more
yeah,
than, depending on what you consider civilization.
yeah, that's true. Is it's funny when, like, people on TV talk about small towns and they're talking about like cities of 100,000 people, and you're like, fuck, man, I I graduated with 19 people in my class, and that was a
Yeah.
big class. And yeah, and it's funny. It's like they'll still consider, like, you know, pretty big cities, you know, 100,000 or more people. For I consider that a pretty big city. Um, that they consider that flyover country. So like towns like where we live, like, completely get ignored. They're like, that's just pasture down there. That's just whatever farms are. That's what that is there. They
Thank
don't
God.
even. Yeah,
I want them to know about it.
I know. It's I don't know. It's such a weird space and
Something
time.
like I've always said is I really don't know why someone would want to live in such a huge city like New York or Seattle or Portland, but I'm so fucking glad they do.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, like I spent a week in Memphis, and Memphis is a pretty big city. You know, it's like 1.5 million people, and it was cool and cool as hell. But I was ready to get the hell out of there by the time, by the time it was my trip was up. I was ready to go. I mean, I had a good time. Um, and I think cities are important, but I don't want to live in them ever. I'll go
Yeah.
visit. I'll go visit from time to time. I think that's important too. Kind of see
Yeah.
how the majority of people live. It's a little
It
eye
is
opening, you know.
fun to kind of visit. It's yeah, it's weird. I'm living in Miles City right now,
Mm,
and I mean, I can't stand it. And I think it's population like 8,000 or something, but it's way too much for me.
yeah. Um. Yeah, but 8,000 is pretty big for Eastern Montana, though.
Yeah,
Like
it is. Yeah. I mean, we have a Walmart and a lot of bars,
that's
and that's
that's
it.
kind of how Haver was. Because I was up in Big Sandy for a very brief stint. That's like the biggest notch on my, like, cowboy credibility belt is I worked on the High Line and
Yeah.
for cabin season, like the worst part of the year. I survived that and then moved home
I
when
know
the
I've heard
weather.
you talk about that before, but how are the winters up there?
Um, it was the coldest I'd ever been, but I don't know if it was. I don't know how bad of a winter comparatively it was for that particular area, but for me, it sucked ass. And like where I grew up got pretty dang cold, but it didn't stay, like, it didn't. You didn't have those prolonged period of just, below zero high for the day
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
That shit sucks.
That gets really hard.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I get why every time I went to the bar, like there was a guy just ready to fight me. I don't know why. I don't know what the particular reason was, but like if I had to live up there year after year after year and it was that fucking miserable, I'd want to fight somebody too. So I don't.
Funny, I was just the other day on one of my Instagram story memories. It was a video of like watching a lightning storm out at Whackers camp, and I was listening to your podcast. This is like 4 years ago, and you were talking about being up there in the winter and some guy trying to fight you and like blow
Yeah,
smoke in your face.
yeah, yeah. It was, and he was a little bitty fella too. Like I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a little guy, but I'm not very tall. I'm kind of like 5'10" ish. Not real
Uh-huh.
tall, but like I'm fairly stocky ish, I guess. And but like this guy was like a $125 sopping wet. And then he tried to wrestle me, and it turns out I do wrestle, or I wrestled a little bit in high school, and that shit just kind of it gets ingrained in your memory, like the just like being able to, you know, protect yourself when somebody's shooting in on you. So like it didn't work out to his advantage at all because I was able, he wasn't like that good of a wrestler to really do anything about it, and I was able to just sprawl and kind of lay on him and then hit him in the gut until he gave up. And and it wasn't that fair of a fight. And like I said, I wasn't a very big guy, but I outweighed him by a bunch, and I felt kind of bad. And then he ended up buying me whiskey, and so I was like, it was a weird fucking deal. I was like, I guess that's just Montana.
I love how like men will just fucking beat the shit out of each other. I've seen it a lot this summer. They'll beat the fuck out of each other, be all bloody, like fucking nose hanging off their face. They'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, yeah," and then they'll just shake hands and then have a beer. I don't
It's
know. That's
I don't know,
something
like
women don't do. It's just I don't know. It's different.
no women like they cut really deep. Like they'll just like drop a real snide comment that just really cuts at a guy's masculinity and then walk away, and you're just like fuck.
Yeah.
Now I think there's something about that where like dudes just need to like you need to just fight it out sometimes, you know, just like fucking if you're that pissed off about it, like throw hands. Let's see. Like and just like nobody stop it till like there's a clear winner, and like all right, once it's got like clear that like the other guy ain't gonna win, just somebody step in and like all right, that's it. Like there needs to be some sort of deal like that. Otherwise men get real bitchy, and bitch is gonna bitch, you know. Like when men are bitchy and women are bitchy, like shit gets really weird.
Yeah. I have this thing where you know how people get drunk and go out or whatever, and like, oh fucking Joe over there, every time he gets drunk he likes to fight, or that chick that's crying all the time or throwing up or whatever. But when I get drunk, I try to Indian leg wrestle everyone and arm wrestle everyone, and I do. And I just got kicked out of the Bison. Well, I haven't been there in a few months, but I got kicked out for Indian leg wrestling in there.
Oh shit.
I thought
Did you
there's a lot
win?
of things I could have done. I got kicked out like mid Indian leg wrestle. So
Oh,
I
that
didn't
sons of bitches.
yeah, it was bullshit. I was like, can I at least finish this here? Damn.
So what would you put your abilities like so let's
I'm
put it
good.
on like we'll put it on like a karate belt system. Are you a white belt
Got the
beginner or are you a black belt?
I'm like a black belt. I've got
Oh yeah?
my bareback riding legs. I've got like
Nice.
fucking thighs of steel.
Thunder thighs?
Thunder thighs of steel.
Calamity thunder thighs?
Like I'd show you my calves right now, but I haven't shaved my legs, so I won't do that.
Oh shit. Well then this is not on OnlyFans, so come on. Come on.
But they're pretty
they're
yeah,
they're pretty beefy.
I'm good. Oh yeah.
Nice. I like it. There's like 7 guys driving truck that just went like, "Oh my god, I love her."
Oh fuck.
It's weird being a woman in today's culture too. Like that, like people like posting their DM screenshots like a beautiful and affordable. That was a funny one. I laughed really hard at that.
I did too. Yeah.
I don't know what country they were from, but affordable did not translate from what they were trying to say. I'm pretty
I was
sure.
like, I really don't know how to take that, but that's definitely the first time anybody's used that as like a line. I don't know. You look
Affordable
really
just
affordable. Oh,
it's such a backhanded, not even compliment. It's just a backhanded insult. um and also maybe it was just a pimp speaking, like a legit pimp. He's like, "You look
yeah,
affordable enough."
fact. Like,
I don't know.
like
That's so funny though.
but
That
my price range.
yeah. Cracked me up though. I really enjoyed that one.
I actually so funny. I don't know if you saw this like long saga of screenshots from that guy that was
I I don't know if I caught all of it, but I was following for a little bit and then I got busy and so I don't know if I caught all of it, but
the gist of it was he had been messaging me on Facebook for like 3 years and I had never responded one time. And he'd be like, "Hey, howdy, hi, how you doing? Hey, beautiful, what's up? Um, what are you doing?" Just no response. And then uh out of the blue, like a couple months ago, he messaged me and he was like, "Hey, how much would you charge to kick me as hard as you can in the nuts while you're naked?" And
no,
I'm
that's
like,
right.
$7,000. So this is how it all started. So I like finally responded to that. It was like 7,000 or something, and then it just went on and on. He was like, "Put me in the hospital. I want it brutal. Bite my dick in half." And I was like, "Okay, can I cut your dick off with an axe?" And he was like, "No, but you can bite it almost all the way off or something." And it
Oh,
just on and on and on and on and on. Holy shit. And finally, I was hoping he was going to send me some money because I was like, "You need to send me some money." Anyway, so that got like really popular. And a lot of people were like following that for.
uh-oh. To be continued. We lost Calamity Cast. God damn it, that was middle of a hilarious story. And we're back.
Yeah. Leave it to me to not charge my phone. But anyway.
I figured that's what was the deal, but no worries.
So I just wanted to tell you this because I think it's hilarious. So yeah, I got all this, weeks of this saga of this back and forth between this guy, and I'm, just fucking with him hard. And I was down in Wyoming at for Parkman days, and I was at the Parkman there, the Parkman bar. And this group of people were sitting at the bar, and I walked by to go to the bathroom, and I come back, and this guy's holding this girl's phone. He's like, "Hey, you!" Like,
You cut out pretty bad. Let's see. We'll wait. We'll see if you catch up. Gotta love rural internet, folks. It's a real beauty. And we'll come back when we can. All right. Now we're back.
Yeah, I don't know what you caught of that, but I was in Wyoming at this bar, and I walked by this group of people sitting at the bar, and this guy was like, "Hey, you!" He's holding this girl's phone. He's like, "Is this you?" Because I had some of that stuff on my stories at the time, and I was like, "Hey, yeah, that's me." And so I guess like all of those girls there like were following me and like super into this story.
Oh, really?
And I thought that was so funny just to get like spotted in public in another state for that. Like,
that's funny.
Fucking cracked me up.
That's really funny. That was that. So do you think that was a real person or was that?
It was definitely a real person. Yeah.
Man, that makes it even sadder.
And the like weird part was like one of the things he said was that he used to live up here in Rosebud, and that he left and went to Georgia or Florida or something because the dating scene was bad, and then he's hitting up a bunch of chicks around here on Facebook because he wanted like a cowgirl to kick him in the nuts really hard or something.
Oh shit. Thunder thighs right to the nuts.
Yeah.
That's funny. There is some weird people out in the world, and like I consider myself to be fairly weird, but like that's a whole different level. Like like that'd be a guy to keep an eye on because he's probably got something real weird, either not in his background or maybe just right below the surface. Like that's some like Ted Bundy shit.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's like maybe keep an eye on that guy. Like I don't advocate for a surveillance state, but like, yeah, that guy maybe keep an eye on.
I sleep with a gun, so
yeah, which I mean that's kind of the ultimate solution, and it's just like,
I mean, if he shows up at my apartment, I'll be like, calm down, I'll kick you in the nuts, all you want.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the crazy thing, but that's what he wants. So like you kick him in the nuts, and then he just like do it again. And you're like, it's that. So you shoot him then, or do you like you entertain him for a minute and then shoot him?
Yeah, I thought, well, I was like, like kind of had a little whack in my confidence because the motherfucker was like, he would just randomly send me like $10 on Facebook Pay or whatever. And he was like, send me a picture. I'm like, $10? And then that motherfucker was like, you look affordable. Like,
That's right.
wow. Feeling really good about myself these days.
Oh man. See, like you, I would picture like an old hippie would be the guy that was sending you money on like say you hadn't I'm and this is like purely hypothetical. But like if you had an OnlyFans or whatever, I'm not saying, not advocating that you do. I'm just saying I would picture your clientele being like old hippies because you're kind of like a hippie chick, and so I
Nailed
like a bunch of bunch of
Nailed
old
it.
men, you know.
Old men love me and weirdos.
Mm,
Like,
yeah.
like, like we've examined. I don't know what it is about me. Like, I don't know.
I don't know, but you've
I don't
got
know.
that you've got like that hippie chick voice when you sing though, and you play like a finger picking style, which was the style in the 60s. And
Yeah.
like I mean that part I get, but I don't know, you kind of give off a hippie chick look, and I like I would imagine like the true hippies, like the ones that are still left. I bet like yeah, they'd be like, I remember chicks like you when I was 20.
Yeah. They love me.
Yeah. Like my dad would fucking love you. I know, like he's a cowboy, but he grew up in that era, and he was on the cowboy side of things, but he always kind of had a thing for hippie chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the Woodstock generation is now like the old fucks that are running stuff, and you're like, man, you guys did a lot of acid, a lot of fucking acid.
Yeah. I had my big time hippie days for sure. And I mean, I don't know. Cause like my deal is, I mean, obviously, like I love cowboys and cowboying and stuff, but I also like to read books and like write and play music and I don't know, like art and stuff. And it's like
Yeah,
when you really get out there and you're doing it, there's not a lot of people that ever actually like read or like have any real like depth to them. And so
yeah, I
it's like,
know. Isn't that disappointing?
and like you're saying, like, like about how it's weird how we can be out here, like, and then like on Instagram and shit, like it's a kind of like hard thing for me to wrap my head around. Like, it's weird. I hate it, but like at the same time, it's really cool because I mean, I'm like the black sheep kind of anywhere I go. I mean, it's rare that I find like at a places I work and stuff, like somebody I do every once in a while, but somebody that like I can like really like hang out with and sit and like nerd out on music or play guitar or like books and shit, art, anything outside of just working. And so like with Instagram, I like put myself out there. I'm like, this is like cool shit. This is what I like, like it's like a picture of my world. And then certain people see that and then I become friends on like the internet with these people, and I've met a lot of badass people from Instagram, like a ton of people,
Mm-hmm.
especially this year. So it's been really fun and like good for me because I mean, it gets lonely when you're working somewhere like everyone thinks you're a fucking weirdo because you like sing songs about horses with AIDS or like
Yeah,
I don't know, like I don't know, dress
you,
funny or like I
you
have
make
this pair of
conspiracy theories up
sunglasses.
about about Donald Trump
Yeah,
being
or
a
like,
virgin.
what, dude, like the moon's a fucking hologram. Birds aren't even real. So I have these sunglasses, and like to me, fuck. I don't think there's anything that fucking weird about them. Like they're just sunglasses. But every time I put them on, everyone I work with here is like starts laughing. They're like, ah, your fucking sunglasses. You look like a stoner. I'm like, what? How? Like, I think it's like my soul. Like, I don't think it's even the sunglasses. Like, I just give off that like vibe. Like, people know that I'm like fucking weird. I can't hide it.
Nah, it's all right. I went to Memphis. Well, like my going to town belt buckle, since I haven't ever actually won anything to get a belt buckle. Like I've won like a couple livestock judging contests in when I was in high school, but I didn't get a buckle for it. But Tracy Morrison made me a science squatch buckle, and it's Sasquatch and an alien
fuck
holding
yeah. I think
hands,
I saw
and
that.
it, like it, I mean, it's like a legit trophy buckle, and that's what I wear. That's my going to town buckle nowadays.
That's
And you know,
badass.
like, cause like, is it stupid? Yes, but you know what? I made it up, and I have like what do you call it? Like the traditional Cowboy Arts Association or whatever. Like he's a legit like TCA artist that made this buckle for me. And I'm like, you know, that's fucking cool. Like, I don't care how stupid it is. Like it's a stupid story, but it's also like, if somebody asks me what it means, so like I'll tell you the story and I'll have you laughing. And and by the way, I've got like a legit fucking artist that made it for me, and I got it for free for helping him promote his shit. And I like that shit's cool to me.
Yeah, absolutely. But that kind of thing, like, yeah, like, I mean, most places you go, like, people are gonna see that buckle and be like, just not fucking get it. Like, don't you get bored of like everything being the same? Like, I have a fucking
Yes.
I have a snake skin on my cantle, and like 99% of people think it's absolutely fucking gross and weird, and that's just surprises the shit out of me because I think it's cool as hell. And then like I made like 5 years ago, I made a burrito holster for my saddle, and I just
I
like,
saw that. That was fucking awesome.
because I found this, it was like a fucking like crystal light canister or something, but it was shaped like perfectly for a little burrito. And I was like, I'm gonna make a holster for that, stick that in there, burrito, boom. And holy, you see that owl?
Yeah. Oh, that's an owl. I was hoping we saw a
It just
UFO.
spooked me. It probably was a UFO.
You know what? It might have been. We don't know. We don't fucking know.
Look at it. Oh fuck, there's two of them. Look at it. Holy
Oh
shit.
man.
That
So I dated a gal in college that was she watched Alfred Hitchcock's Birds, or
are you
I
watching
think
this?
it's, yeah.
Sorry, I'm listening, but
That's crazy. But she like, it ruined her for life. She fucking hates birds. And I never understood it.
I like
it's kind of the
birds,
same
but
way. My wife
But look
my
at these
wife hates
motherfuckers.
spiders.
Those are government spies for sure. Not real.
Oh yeah, birds ain't real. Birds aren't real.
Not real at all.
I
You know what?
love that.
I
I
just
love
posted that meme, and the FBI, they saw it.
I guarantee you. I saw a deal, and I sent it to my buddy Aaron, who I do fence post politics with. It was like a Homeland Security memo of right-wing extremists, and it was like independent media, taxation activists, and I don't know. There was like 10 categories, and I fit into 6 of them, and I was like, holy shit, I'm on so many lists, and
So
I don't
people
do
that
any.
they're watching.
Yeah, and that's like the categories to look for domestic extremism.
Yeah, watch me.
Yeah, and I'm just like, fuck. they're watching me, and I'm like I'll fight back, but like I don't.
I've had
Like
enough of
I'm.
Uncle Sam's fucking bullshit. I'll tell you what. Don't
Me
even get
too. I'm like
started.
I'll fight back, but like I also realize like there's not much I'm gonna do. Like you'll probably overwhelm me, and I'll probably die pretty quickly. But like you're still gonna have to make an effort, I guess. And but like I really don't want that to happen. I'd rather you guys just fucking leave me alone, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing. Here, I got a new burrito holder for you.
You fucking
Cass.
see that shit? Dang.
That's awesome.
You got a what?
I think I got a new burrito holder. You might like. I got my my merch store up and running here.
So
Just the other day.
the burrito holder, like in the wintertime when it was cold, I never did it, but I always thought about getting one of those electric socks and putting it inside.
Oh yeah.
To keep it warm. I don't know if that would work, but that would probably fit a chode.
Yeah, I think so.
Burrito.
I think so. It'd be a good burrito to
put some holes in it and run it through my saddle.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, you can get that on the at the Burnin Daylight Supply House, burnin-daylight.com. Shameless plug, but
you got a lot of merch on there? You got shirts and stuff?
I've got a few shirts. Matt Wilson has let me hold on. Let me show you the Matt Wilson. It's called the Taco Snatcher. And it's pretty fucking rad. And we got it in a whole bunch of colors because I'm using this these people that I don't like. I don't know who they are, but it seems like they can get shirts out pretty quick. So I made the cover a pink Taco Snatcher.
I can't see it. What is the picture?
There we go. There you go.
Whoa. I gotta get that. So that reminds me of, so I'm working at like a government, like USDA cattle research operation.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of weird ass shit out there, but there's this big like radio tower thing, or satellite, I don't know what the hell it is, but it's shaped like a giant sombrero, and it's just out in the middle of the prairie. And me and my friend I work with always joke about going out there at night and like graffitiing it, like to paint it up like a sombrero with the embroidery and like put giant pom-poms all the way around it.
Hell yeah. And like make instead of like these little balls hanging down, make it 2 balls hanging down. So it's just like a set of nuts all the way around.
Yeah, no, nobody knows what it is as far as I know, but I always call it the aliens communications tower.
I've heard, isn't that where the Chinese balloon went over the other day?
The other day, another one?
Oh, well, no, like here, whenever was that, like last summer, maybe? Whenever that was.
It was the spring. It went over, like it went over us, I think, or north of here. Yeah, that was weird. Whatever happened to that?
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. It seems like people are really trying to get us into a war with either China or Russia, and like that. Both of those seem like a bad idea. Like I don't know if we'll lose those.
I really thought it would happen by now. I was like, let's do this. Like I thought it was coming, and then it's just like silence.
Yeah, we also got these for Matt Wilson.
Oh, it's like they put it in your thoughts, and then they're like, oh, like it's in your mind for like I don't know. But I did see, like, I was driving back from Western Montana the other day, and I saw like I've never seen so many like army tanks. I passed probably like fucking 60 of them. I'm not even shitting you. Like the whole way back, like 7 hours back, just everywhere. And then this guy that I like have on Instagram, he's like a military guy. He had this video of him and a bunch of people like jumping in a helicopter or something. I was like, is the war starting? And he usually like we talk, he like sometimes, and he responds to me, but he didn't say anything. Like, what's going on?
That's crazy. And like there's a whole bunch of shit going on over by China too, like between China and Taiwan. And it just like it really seems like some of the like the really tied in like deep old money type people really want a war with China, and that seems like a bad idea. It's like not only
Yeah,
do they have like 3.5 times our population, but like we have to cross an ocean to go fight them. Like
right. And
they only have to go 100 miles to get to Taiwan. We've got to go like 1,500, 2,000, 3,000. I
right,
don't know how.
yeah.
We got to
I heard
go, and we got to island hop like we did back in World War II. But yeah, the Chinese military is like way better than what the Japs were back in the day.
yeah, and I'm sure you saw back like when all that there's some tension there. Like they had like people coming out talking about that the US has been doing their exercises and shit like for years, and when they do these simulations, like they're never able to beat China.
Yeah.
Did you see that? You know what I'm talking
Yeah, yeah, it's and
about.
these are like these are the think tanks that are like really trying to sell war with everybody, and you're like, okay, so in your own estimation, we don't beat China because they just have more people than we do. And we got to go over there. Like they're not trying to invade the United States. It's always because we're defending Taiwan.
Well, and
So
obviously, like, there's so this could be like fucking 20-hour conversation, but I mean, obviously, everybody knows our military is getting so soft.
soft, dude.
It's so fucking soft. Our military.
Yeah, and then they were saying the other day, like, if you're a transgender military member nowadays, you can postpone indefinitely all the deployments and whatnot. So essentially, you're in the military. You're essentially the Simpsons character. I'm helping, and you don't have to go to war. It's like it's like we need another generation of CCR to make the new Fortunate Son,
Yep. Yeah, big time. It's like really it is a weird time to be alive in so many freaking ways, because we are seeing this country like change in such a like big way. Like our parents and grandparents and great grandparents did not see that like that profound of change in their
Yeah.
lifetimes, and it's like where's this gonna go?
Well, and I look back to the like the stupid wars that we fought in the past, and like Vietnam being the big one, because like my biological dad was a Vietnam vet, and like looking back on it now, it was a stupid idea. And even like you look into some of the people that were heavily involved, like Daniel Ellsberg, who just recently passed away, the guy that leaked the Pentagon Papers. But like he was in favor of the Vietnam War when it started under Kennedy. But they realized like there was a no-win deal. Like the Vietnamese were far more worried about independence than they were communism. But it just so happened Ho Chi Minh was friendly to the communists because the U.S. backed the French over the Vietnamese after World War II. Like that's what it all like. It's all those fights have come down as we backed the wrong person and ended up fighting the people that we end up funding. Like we funded Ho Chi Minh during World War II to help disrupt the Japanese lines, and then we dropped more bombs on North Vietnam than everybody in World War II dropped on everybody in World War II.
I am at the point in my life where I am realizing, like, holy shit, everything is a lie. Like, I don't, like,
Yeah.
nothing, like, you can't trust shit. Like, all
Mm-mm.
the wars for the last fucking 300 years, like, who knows, like, the real reasons behind them and the real reasons they chose, like, the US, like, in particular, chose to defend what they wanted to defend and like back who they wanted to back and like I mean all these strategic moves, it's all in my mind not what they say it is. It's about
No,
money for
it's all the British East India Trading Company. You know,
can't
it's
can't
it's
trust.
all it's always a like a corporate interest that's propped up by the military of a sovereign nation. And whether it's the banana republics in Central America or you know the British East India Trading Company, you know, it's all the same thing. It's all it is now. It's Raytheon. It's like the Raytheon Global United States America Arms Company.
I'm really not that savvy when it comes to like history and politics and shit, but I'm like, you know, like even a fool can see like the lies we've been told and like, you know, just stupid little shit that's like I like people, you know, if you have any kind of brains, you can see through a lot of the bullshit and put two and two together. And I don't mean no likey.
What was the like the it was one, I think it was the Cheyenne, maybe like the Clown Warrior or something like that, where like they did everything opposite and they were kind of like the court jester. um I feel like that's what I am nowadays. Like I I feel like I can see all this shit that you know, like everybody's all pissed off about something and they're missing the obvious hilarious part that's pitting them against each other. And you're just like that's where I'm at. And it's like, oh, you guys are all missing the point. Like they're they're causing you to fight each other so you don't look at this.
Yeah. I mean, I could go on and on about how I feel about the government.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I have and have for a long time, and now I'm kind of it's like I don't even want to think about it anymore.
all right. Well,
I'm getting
I,
old. I'm 30 now. Like I want to have a good time. I don't want to fucking think about getting fucked by the government all the time. So I do my
yeah.
best to kind of just not start because once I start, stop.
Yeah. Well, you said you're 30 what?
31.
31. All right. You're still fairly young. But you got a kid, and I'm asking this as a fellow parent. Like I don't know, like there's not a lot that we can change around our world except to just like teach our kids to be good and not be a bitch, I guess.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
that's that's the that's the best thing I'm trying to do is like teach my kids to be respectful until it's time not to be. And then when it's time not to be able to whoop some fucking ass.
Yeah, to not be little fucking bitches. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's
That was the coolest thing, that the coolest thing that I saw when I went to Freedom Fest there in Tennessee. And there was like, I guess there was 2,000 people that bought a ticket. So wasn't as big as I thought, but still it was a lot of people. And there was like 250 speakers. And it was monotonous, but it was a good experience, and it gave me a little bit of hope for mankind, because there's people from all over the country and then like a handful of people from all over the globe that are doing their part to like just be like, hey, fuck off. Like, just let me be me. Like, and like, I may not agree with their personal views, but they're just like, hey, just let me do my thing. I'm not hurting anybody.
Right.
And
Mine not
that's
even like, I know it can, sorry to interrupt you, but like for me, it can, well, not really for me because I'm in fucking Miles City, Montana, but I know it can seem like there's like you're the only one, or there's like it's the world against you, all these fucking trannies and drag queens trying to take over the world and like, do their thing, force it down your throat, whatever. But there are a lot of like tried and true patriots, like people that stand up for what they believe in, and there's a lot of them out there. But it's easy to like, especially when you're just totally isolated, like to when you're like seeing what you see on like the news or the internet, like holy shit, like I feel alone. But there's more of them out there than you think. And even if you're not like doing any like necessarily like going to marches or Freedom Fest or whatever, even if you just in conversation from day to day, you like have the balls to be like, that's fucking dumb, or like,
yeah.
stand up for
Or
what you believe in, just in everyday conversation, like around wherever you go, like that is important too.
well, and I think it's also important to remember that, like, when you go into those cities, like we always think of them like these purple haired screaming lunatics that because that's who you see in the
Mhm.
protests. But like the vast majority of people that live in a city either go to work in a cubicle or they go to work in a warehouse or they're driving a truck or something. They're doing the same grind that we are, but in a different profession.
Right.
And like it's the same thing. We're doing the same goddamn thing, just a different line of
Right.
work, and just got to remember that. And so like I posted over the 4th of July, I was like, take your city friends to rural America for
Yeah.
Independence Day. Like let them show. And also like on the same way, like if you don't have plans for Independence Day, go to the city, go see a baseball game. Like Coors Field, the fireworks show on the 4th of July is fucking dope. And like you're not going to get that in rural America, and it's still the same fucking holiday. We're the same
Right.
goddamn country, you know. Like we and I don't know. I had that history professor on here a while back, and he talked about when the Union stockyards shut down in Chicago, that cut a huge link from urban America to rural America, where like the rancher and the cowboys didn't follow the cattle into Chicago anymore. Like there was just somebody that came to it and they made their deal, and then the cattle left on a truck, and the rancher didn't leave his place. But in the old days, like you had to go, you shipped your cattle to Chicago, you shipped them to Fort Worth or Kansas City or Omaha or wherever, and you followed your cattle in, and then you made a deal with the buyer the next day. And then in those couple days where you were in the city, you went to Packentown and you went to the bars, you went to restaurants and hung out with the guys that cut your meat.
Right.
And when that when that bond was cut, like the like one of the huge bonds between urban America and rural America was cut. And I don't know how you really establish that back, but the only thing I can think of is like, yeah, just like if you got a cool, like I'm right next to Bridgeport, California, which really does 4th of July right. I mean, it's a cool 4th of July celebration. I brought my buddy out, and they got to experience what we do in rural America. But I've been in Coors Field, and I've been in like Reno when the casinos are competing with each other on fireworks displays, and that's you don't get that shit in rural America either. And so like there's I don't know, like try to find out how the other part of America lives, and not like not the high end part of America, but like see how like a
Normal.
parallel
Yeah.
job from ours lives, and That was one of the cool things about Memphis that I saw like a lot of working class black folks, and
Right.
that's a whole different culture that they got down there. But they're still the same people as we are. They're still getting fucked over by the man. They're working longer hours than they want to for not enough money that they think they're worth. And oh, so
Yeah, it's always
live.
kind of like last few years kind of like been I have like we were talking about earlier, like I don't know. I have a lot of like hippie friends. Like kind of, I don't know what you call them, like people that hop on trains and go harvest,
Mhm.
work beet harvests and whatever, like hippie. And I like,
Kind of
I'm not like a
vagabonds.
stoner. Absolutely, lots of vagabond friends, and a lot of them, um, we have like just completely different views on shit, and like they're the only they get cranky when you want to talk about shit, and that's fine. I want to talk about shit. Like I'm like thankful for my friends that like completely just we have absolutely like opposite views on everything, but we can still go have a good time and like have wonderful conversations and whatever. But it's just always kind of like struck a nerve in me about it's like I everyone not everyone. I mean just I for me like if like one express their views about how why they think like Marxism is great and like we should communism conversation adult conversation about it. It's like nope, nope, nope. Like you're a fucking like just shut down your throat like you're a bigot like these like um keywords they like shove the like people like you're a bigot, you're a racist, or whatever. And like kind of like Pavlov's law or whatever it is. It's like now time somebody hears somebody talking about like vaccines or like they're questioning
Mm.
it or something, they start drooling like a dog. Uh bigot, racist, like well
Yeah.
just
Well, and I look at RFK Jr. is a perfect example where he's like the old school Hollywood all vaccines are bad type of crowd, which I don't necessarily
mhm,
subscribe to. But after this whole COVID deal, I'm far more open to hearing their arguments than I was
right,
before. Cuz I mean like and me and you are in the same business, like we work with vaccines and like kind of know how that shit works. Uh cuz biology is biology despite what they want to tell you. Um and there's differences between human and cow biology, but it outside of the reproductive system it's pretty well the same, or not reproductive system but the digestive system, like the
yeah,
reproductive system's slightly different, the digestive system's way different, but outside of that
right.
it's roughly the same. and
It's
and the
crazy
vaccines.
how much,
Oh, go ahead.
but something like I literally like I have like complete open mind. I mean, I'm very skeptical about like everything now. But I mean, obviously bovine vaccines work, but are bovine
Mm-hmm.
vaccines made in the same way that human vaccines are made? Something that I like one example of like a real red flag for me. Well, obviously, I think like the whole COVID shot like really kind of got people thinking about shit, but like on the reservations they were offering like $1,000 per person that got vaccinated.
Yeah.
uh it's like like they just like fucking stole your
I
land and like raped and
I
murdered you.
heard
100 years
Yeah,
ago.
I heard that too. And we
I,
live in kind of
if I was
a similar
res, I don't know.
oh sorry, we live in kind of a similar area where there's there's a you know, a pretty decent sized reservation right here pretty close, and I was hearing that same shit. And also like the res locked down pretty goddamn hard here.
Hard.
Like
They weren't even allowing trucks through the Crow reservation down here. Like the road was
yeah.
closed.
Yeah, it was kind of the same thing on the res here. We've got a couple different ones, and yeah, it was wild. But I also heard, you know, like on the res they were offering money, but in the cities they were offering like free hamburgers. You know, like like a free order of fries. You know, like hey, fat fuck, get a vaccine. So you don't have to exercise, and by the way, we'll reward you with an order of straight carbs.
Bit of a juxtapose. Yeah, absolutely. Like I don't know. Just I mean, it wasn't necessarily like it was little things like that, and then yeah, like or anything. But I've just I kind of follow these kind of fringe like conspiracy theory like pages and stuff, like questioning everything, which is cool. It gets the wheels turning. I don't just automatically believe anything. Like it's
Right.
like, hey, that's a thought, you know. But there was a bunch of commercials also like for the COVID shot talking about how like black people are like 10 times more likely to get COVID and shit. And I'm like, that just rubs me the wrong way. I have a bad feeling about
Right. And then RFK says, "Hey, this was programmed to target whites and blacks and not Ashkenazi Jews and Asians for some weird reason." He's like, and we don't even know if that was programmed that way, but that's just how the stats lined up. And they're like, "Oh, you're a fucking anti-Semite and anti-Asian." Well, you didn't listen to what he said, but I mean, and I don't even know if he's right on that. But you're like,
well,
the
who knows?
fact
But
that
I mean, I think like, sorry, only a fucking fool is just gonna be like, follow the science. It's science. It's a vaccine. They wouldn't do like they're scientists. They wouldn't do anything to hurt you. Like that's a dumb. That's fucking
yeah,
dumb. I don't care
it's
who you are.
really dumb.
And I got that. But like, I mean, at the very fucking least, stop and think about it. Like, do a little like
Right.
digging on the dark web. Whatever you
I
gotta
know.
do. Like, think about it.
And I always quote this, but and I don't remember exactly what the Bible verse is, but it's the Apostle Paul. But he says, "Study all things and hold fast to that which is true." And like I think that's
Yeah.
regardless of your religion, that's like the one of the wisest things ever spoke. It's like
Right.
question it all, and then when you find truth, hold on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy,
Absolutely.
but I thought we were gonna talk a little bit about some more cowboy shit, but we'll do that on the Patreon segment.
All right.
All right. Well, I gotta go pee, but do you want anybody to find you on social media, or are you kind of laying low?
Yeah, you can find me on social media. It's Calamity Cast.
All
Isn't
right,
it?
go.
Calamity
I think
Cast?
so. I think it's like is it calamity.cast? Either way,
or something.
search it up. Yeah,
Cast.
you should be able to find it. It's
I'm
not
looking
hard.
for pen pals right now.
Oh, by the way, you wanna be the administrator of the Burnin Daylight Pen Pal network?
Oh, we're starting a pen pal network? Hell yeah.
I wasn't until I saw your post the other day, but and then I saw your Ian Tyson letter, and I was like, that's fucking cool.
Great.
I'll send you my handwritten Boots O'Neill business card. I'll send it privately. I don't want to post that, because I don't want him getting bombarded with
Really good
with
idea.
phone call. But I mean, we'll talk about it in the Patreon. But I think it's a good idea, and if you want to be
Let
in
me
charge of that. We'll
the
do it.
the world would be a better place if more people wrote letters to each other. It does.
I think so.
It's so
I
different than just writing in a notebook, writing a song, writing a poem. When you're writing to somebody, it's so different, and I don't know what it is. It's and that's what makes it cool. I don't know what it is, but it's different, and it's just good.
Yeah, I feel the same way about podcasting, especially if you're doing it by yourself. There's one thing about ranting when somebody asks you a question, but there's another thing about ranting and pointing it towards an individual person, which is what you have to do when you're going solo, you know. And
So different. There's
it's really different, and I don't know. I think it's cool because you look at throughout history some of the great men and women that corresponded, you know, and they, you say regularly, but when you really look at it, they maybe were getting a letter from each other every couple of months, maybe. So it's not very regular, but they kept it up, and I don't know. There's something about that, just like the anticipation to see what somebody is writing you, and then like
so
I
I
don't
know.
know.
I'm sorry, but just hold on. So there's like several several great poets and artists like that like my favorite shit that they did was their letter. Like they're like corresponding with people, not expecting it to be published or anything. All the time they're trying to like make it big, writing poems or sculpting or writing songs. But in between that, they're writing letters between people. They never get big, but when they die, somebody makes a book with all their letters they sent to people back and forth. And it just, I love that shit. And that like also like I've lived in the middle of fucking nowhere, like literally like
Yeah,
wilderness, like had letters flown out to me by fucking Cessnas and shit and rode out for 40 miles on a horse. Like I had to correspond with letters, and like that was the highlight of my day, like when I would get a letter once a week or whatever. And like
yeah,
and then having that already like foundation built upon like all of these artists like Rainer Maria Rilke, which like we could get into that, but like he was a poet, aspiring poet, sculptor, artist, and like like really sad because he couldn't fucking do it. But then like he dies, and then like these letters are like published, and they're so much better than like when you're like trying to write a well scripted like poem. Like it's just like it's just like deeper, like it's your soul. It's not um I can't think of the word for it, but it's just so beautiful. I don't know. I fucking
well,
love.
I feel the same way, like because I read Jake Zilke's book, you know, Lost Cowboy, and I've had
Uh-huh.
him on the podcast twice now, and we went over 2 hours both times. Like he's a really good guy to talk to,
He is very cool.
but his book, like you look at him in a completely different way, and you feel like you've known him for a long time, just the way he writes. And there's something unique about like you know right away whether you've read the story or not before. You know Mark Twain, you
Right.
know Ernest Hemingway, and like like I feel like I know Jake Zilke in a different way from reading that book. Like and I said I've got four hours plus of recorded conversation with him, and I feel like I learned more from the book, you know, and
Right.
like that's a long time to talk to somebody,
There
and it just one guy, you know.
there's something about writing a letter to somebody, or maybe in his case a book or whatever, but when you're writing, it's just there's some there's some wall in there that's not there when you're just having a conversation, or it's just different. I'm like
Yeah,
it's way more intimate.
I
Like
think so too.
And writing a book versus like writing a letter versus a book is like just like as intimate as it gets, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, there's just something about writing in general. It's just like it's I don't know. I'm glad that you appreciate it like I do. And
Absolutely.
that's one thing. Like I'm trying to get this book club deal started where like we, as I'm doing research for my stuff, like we pick out a book a month. And I picked out Jake just because I really liked his book. And then there's Dominic Pasiga, who's the history professor from Chicago that I want to do. And so like during that month of the book club, you read the book and then you get a chance to, like, if you subscribe on Patreon, you get a chance to ask him a question from that book in particular. And he, he can go in, he can answer it in depth, like, which is the cool,
Sorry, are you
thing about, oh, go
artists
ahead.
that are alive?
What's that?
Writers that are you only going to do writers that are alive?
No, not at all. Like I think on the writers that aren't alive, which, because I was really wanting to get Cormac McCarthy and Larry McMurtry on the podcast, but
Hey,
I know,
my
and I
favorite.
missed it. I was too late on both of them, and that sucks. But there's people that are experts on both of them, and maybe we can get those on. And so, like, it just like it doesn't have to be the author, but if they're alive, I'd rather have the author themselves.
That's like, I actually started a book club too on Instagram and never really followed through with it because like I'm fucking obsessed with books. Like absolutely, like so fucking many of them. I have so many recommendations for you, but
I have the same thing, and I do a lot of audiobooks nowadays, and I know it's not the same thing, but it's better than not doing it, and honestly, like, if you have a
right.
good if you have a good narrator, it's pretty enjoyable.
They are, especially like driving and stuff. Those are cool.
Yeah, same thing, like riding pins, driving, whatever, like if you got a a couple hours or more to kill, and you're kind of caught up on, or you're tired of the daily bullshit, just go find a good book, and
Yeah.
I don't know, I like it. We're gonna talk about this more on the Patreon episode. I like this idea a lot, Cass.
Me too.
All right, cool. Well, go follow her, Calamity Cass, on Instagram, Cassandra Jean something on Facebook. Either way, she's gonna be at Elko, right?
Yeah, I'll be there.
All right, she's gonna be playing the Burnin Daylight show. Burnin Daylight does Elko. I asked Haley Johnson to commit or to draw something for it. I'm also gonna open that up to a couple other people. And I think we're gonna do T-shirts of all of the posters for Burnin Daylight does Elko. So I'm really excited to see what people come up with. And yeah, other than that, go to patreon.com/Burnin Daylight if you want to hear the rest of this episode. And other than that, take her easy. Thanks for tuning in. Go follow Cass and move your ass. We're Burnin Daylight.
Your eyes up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the south, till the job's done right.
You're in the show, everyone can see and hear you.
Burning daylight. Burning daylight.
I wonder if everyone just heard me PS on my truck.
Burning daylight.